The wind always smelled like salt on the northern coast, the kind that carried memories instead of scents. And on that lonely stretch of rocks, where the land surrendered to the restless sea, stood the Arden Point Lighthouse, tall, pale, weather-beaten, and endlessly faithful. Inside it lived a man who was equally faithful, Thomas Hale, 82 years old, lighthouse keeper. Thomas is a quiet, stubborn old man with a white beard, gentle eyes, and a heart full of promises he never broke. He had tended this lighthouse since he was 21, and though the world around him changed, Thomas stayed, not because he loved routine, not because he feared retirement, but because of a promise made long ago. Thomas Hale moved slowly up the spiral staircase of the lighthouse, lantern in hand, his old boots tapping rhythmically against the iron steps. He did this every night. He had been doing it every night for 61 years. The lighthouse was more than a duty now. It was the last piece of a life he once shared with someone he loved. When he reached the top, he rested his palm against the cool metal railing and looked out at the ocean. The waves crashed like a heartbeat against the rocks below. The sky was a quilt of stars stitched across deep blue. And he whispered what he whispered every night, "Eliza, if you're out there, I'm still here." Eliza Moore, which is Thomas's wife, and a ship nurse lost at sea 57 years ago. Sweet, warm-hearted, and courageous. Her smile was the brightest thing Thomas had ever known. People in the nearby town of Willow Bay still talked about the tragedy. How the ship she worked on, the Starling, disappeared one stormy night. How no bodies were found. How Thomas refused to leave his post from that day onward. The younger folks called him stubborn. The older ones understood. Promises, especially those tied to the heart, don't disappear with time. Thomas lit the lantern, ensuring the great beacon of Arden Point burned bright. The beam swung across the dark horizon like a steady, guiding hand. He checked the fuel, tightened the glass casing, and then sat in his old wooden chair facing the sea. Even now, after decades, he still expected something, a sign, a miracle, a return, something that would justify the years of waiting. But the ocean remained silent, except tonight. Something felt different. The air hummed with a faint tension, the kind that settles right before a revelation. Thomas felt it. He rubbed his fingers over his wedding ring, a simple gold band worn thin around the edges, and closed his eyes. And like always, the memory returned. It was a bright, warm morning. The dawn breeze was gentle, brushing over the docks like an affectionate hand. Ships creaked, sailors laughed, seagulls cried overhead. Thomas stood in his uniform, holding Eliza's hands. She was leaving for a 6-month medical service on the Starling. "You don't have to go," he said softly. Eliza smiled, brushing her thumb against his cheek. "You know why I want to? It's important work, and I'll be back before you even notice I'm gone." Thomas didn't believe that for a second. He always noticed when she was gone. "I'll be right here, waiting," he whispered. Eliza leaned forward, resting her forehead against his. "Then promise me something, Thomas Hale, anything, no matter what happens, no matter how long it takes. Keep the light on for me." Thomas kissed her hands. "I promise." And that promise became the foundation of the rest of his life. The memory faded as Thomas blinked himself back to the present. The lantern flame flickered, the ocean whispered, and Thomas felt the familiar ache of longing in his chest, different from grief, deeper than loneliness. It was the kind of ache born from unbroken devotion. He took a deep breath and stood again, looking through the glass at the sea. "You're late, love," he murmured quietly. 57 years late, but I'm still here. That morning, Sarah Whitlock, a 45 years old and a director of Willow Bay Senior Council, climbed up the lighthouse stairs, holding a thermos of hot soup. She was one of the few people Thomas allowed to visit without protest. "Morning, Mr. Hale," she called out when she reached the top. Thomas turned, offering her a small smile. "You're early today. I could say the same about you," she teased, handing him the thermos. "You didn't come down for your groceries yesterday." "I was busy thinking about her." Thomas didn't answer, but Sarah didn't need a reply. She looked at him gently. You've kept your promise longer than most people can even stay married." Thomas chuckled softly. "A promise is a promise." Sarah hesitated. She had something she needed to say, something she had rehearsed in her head for weeks, but she paused. Thomas's face looked softer today, almost hopeful. So instead she asked, "Did you sleep at all last night?" "Sleep is for people with nothing to wait for," he replied quietly. Sarah sighed inwardly. Just as she feared, this lighthouse wasn't just a workplace for Thomas anymore. It was a ritual, a devotion, a shrine, a memory trapped in time. That evening, when Sarah left and the sun dipped beneath the horizon, Thomas climbed the stairs again, his lantern in hand. Night after night after night, routine becomes prayer when done with the right heart. And Thomas's heart had remained unchanged for 57 years. That night, however, something strange happened. The lighthouse lantern, which had always burned steady, flickered twice and dimmed for a moment before returning to full brightness. Thomas frowned. That had never happened before. "Don't tell me you're tired, old girl," he muttered, gently tapping the metal frame. "You and I still have work to do." But when he looked out at the horizon, his breath froze. A faint glow, faint but unmistakable, shimmered far, far out at sea. A white gold light, small as a pearl, pulsing like a heartbeat. Thomas blinked. The light blinked back. Impossible. His heart thudded. His hands trembled. He gripped the railing so tightly the metal dug into his palm. He leaned forward as far as he safely could, eyes wide. It looked like, no, it couldn't be, but it felt like it. A ship's signal, and not a modern one. This was the old-style Morse lamp used decades ago. His heart hammered harder. "Is someone out there?" he whispered to the darkness. The light flashed again. Thomas's knees nearly buckled. The next morning, Adrian Cole, a local fisherman, stopped by the lighthouse, waving from below. "Mr. Hale, you got a minute?" Thomas slowly descended the stairs, gripping the railing for support. "What is it, son?" Adrian scratched his head. "You probably won't believe me, but last night, out at sea, I saw something weird." Thomas's heart skipped. "What did you see?" "A light, far out. Looked like an old ship's lamp." "I dunno. Thought maybe you'd know something." Thomas swallowed hard. "Did it flash?" he whispered. Adrian blinked. "Yeah, actually like it was, signaling." Thomas gripped the railing tighter. "3 short flashes?" he asked, voice trembling. Adrian nodded. "Yeah, how'd you know?" Thomas felt like his soul jumped to his throat. "Because 3 short flashes. That was the exact signal Eliza had taught him the night before she boarded the Starling. It means, I'm home, you know." Sometimes these stories remind us how powerful hope can be, how it keeps people going, even when the whole world thinks they should give up. If any of you listening feel connected to Thomas's journey, or if our stories bring warmth to your nights, your support means more than you know. Our PayPal link is in the description below. Even a small gesture helps us keep sharing moments like this, especially for those who feel alone. Thank you, truly. Adrian left soon after, unaware of the storm he had stirred inside Thomas. Thomas climbed to the top again, this time faster than he had in years. He pressed his hands to the glass, eyes scanning the horizon. Nothing. The ocean stretched out endlessly, quiet and calm. But Thomas didn't lose hope. Hope, once awakened after years of silence, becomes impossible to stifle. He whispered to the sea, "Eliza, if that was you, give me another sign." Night fell faster than usual. The lighthouse lantern glowed bright, sweeping across the dark waves with its steady rotation. The air grew colder. Thomas pulled his coat tighter around him. Hours passed. The ocean remained empty. But then, just past midnight, a soft mist rolled across the water, swirling in ghostly shapes. It moved strangely, like it had a destination, like it was being guided. Thomas's heart hammered. The mist thickened, curled, lifted, and from inside it, a faint glimmer appeared. Then another, 2 soft white lights, then 3, forming a shape, a silhouette, a ship-sized silhouette. Thomas stumbled back, nearly tripping over his own feet. No, it can't be, but it was. The shape of a bow, the outline of a mast, like a ghost drifting through time, pressing forward out of the mist, and then, a single flash of warm light on its deck. Thomas's breath hitched, his knees weakened. His heart felt like it was being squeezed from the inside. "Eliza," he cried out instinctively. The ocean didn't answer, but the light flashed twice more, not random, not accidental, purposeful, directed at him. Thomas pressed both palms against the glass and whispered, voice breaking, "Is it you, my love? Are you finally coming home?" The horizon remained silent, but the light pulsed again, strong, steady, patient, like someone was waiting, like someone had been waiting for him. The mist clung to the ocean like a veil, soft and ghostly, as Thomas Hale stood frozen inside the lantern room of the Arden Point Lighthouse. His breath fogged the glass as he pressed closer, heart trembling with a mixture of fear, hope, and disbelief. The horizon still held the faint shape of the ship, that impossible, dreamlike silhouette emerging from the mist, and the light, that gentle, warm signal. It pulsed again, slow and steady, not random, not natural, not an illusion. It felt purposeful, familiar, sent for him, for Thomas Hale, the man who had kept a promise longer than most people live. His old hands trembled against the glass. "Eliza," he whispered again, but the word cracked halfway through, carried by a voice that had waited 57 years to say her name with hope instead of sorrow. The mist slowly thinned, as if peeling itself open like curtains on a stage. The silhouette sharpened. The bow of the ship became clearer. The outline of the mast became more defined. Thomas wiped his sleeve across the glass, as though clarity depended on him. His heartbeat raced faster than it had in decades. "It can't be," he whispered. "It just can't be." But everything inside him said it was. If not the ship itself, then something tied to it, something that hadn't let go, just like him. Thomas staggered back from the railing and grabbed the old binoculars hanging by the wall. He lifted them with shaking hands and pressed them to his eyes. The mist parted almost obediently, and then Thomas saw it. A shock tore through him so violently he had to grip the railing to stay upright. On the deck of the ship, faint, nearly transparent in the moonlight, stood a woman. A woman wearing a white nurse's uniform from the 1960s. A woman with soft brown hair tied back in the same bun Eliza always wore while working. A woman with the same posture, the same gentle tilt of her head. Thomas's breath left his lungs in a ragged gasp. "Eliza," he croaked. But when he blinked, the figure was gone. The deck was empty. The mist thickened again, swallowing the ship's shape like a secret being tucked away. The light pulsed once more, slow, warm, patient, and then it faded. The ship, or whatever it was, dissolved back into the mist before Thomas could even take another step. No, Thomas reached toward the glass instinctively. "Don't go, not yet." But the horizon was already empty. The ocean lay still, dark, quiet, endless, as if nothing had happened, as if it had only been a dream. But Thomas knew it wasn't. His bones, his heart, his very breath knew it wasn't. It was real. Something real had come to him after 57 years of silence. He sank into the chair beside him, chest heaving. Tears welled in his eyes, blurring the last trace of mist. He pressed his hand over his heart, trying to steady himself. "Eliza, I saw you," he murmured. "I know I did." Morning came too fast, too bright, too ordinary. Thomas barely slept. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the ship's faint outline, the soft gold light, the figure on the deck. He kept whispering the same thing to himself. It was her. It had to be her. Sarah climbed the lighthouse steps just before sunrise, carrying a bag of groceries. "Mr. Hale," she called, "you awake?" Thomas didn't answer at first. He was standing at the railing, binoculars still in hand, eyes fixed firmly on the horizon. Sarah stepped closer, concern etched into her face. "Thomas, what's wrong?" He finally turned to her. His eyes glowed with something she hadn't seen in years. "Hope, Sarah?" he whispered. "I saw something." She blinked. "Something? What kind of something?" He swallowed hard. "A ship." Sarah frowned gently. "Thomas, there hasn't been a ship near this coast for days." It wasn't an ordinary one, Thomas said softly. It looked like the Starling. Sarah froze. The Starling. The ship Eliza was on. The ship that disappeared. The ship no one ever found. Thomas, she said slowly. You know that ship sank over 5 decades ago. It didn't sink, Thomas whispered, voice trembling. It never did. It got lost in a storm. Lost doesn't mean gone. I saw a light. I saw a shape. I saw his voice died. Sarah stepped closer, placing a gentle hand on his arm. Thomas, I know you loved her. I know you've waited. But maybe, he cut her off sharply. No, please, Sarah, don't say what you're going to say. She swallowed her words. Thomas rarely raised his voice. The desperation in it startled her. Just tell me you believe me, Thomas whispered, just this once. Sarah hesitated. She wanted to comfort him, but she also didn't want to encourage anything that might break him later. So she chose her words carefully. I believe that you believe what you saw, she said softly, and that matters. Thomas's shoulders sagged a little, but he nodded. It wasn't the answer he wanted, but it wasn't disbelief either. Sarah left after making sure he ate something. Thomas returned to the lantern room. His eyes stayed fixed on the sea. Adrian visited that afternoon, holding a thermos of hot tea. Mr. Hale, he called. Mind if I come up? Go on. Adrian climbed up and sat on one of the wooden crates. You look like you haven't slept. I haven't. Thomas's voice came out weak. Adrian nodded, then leaned forward. You saw something last night too, didn't you? Thomas looked at him sharply. Yes, he whispered. Adrian exhaled slowly. I figured, the moment I saw your face just now, I knew it wasn't just me imagining things. Thomas's heart skipped. You believe me? He asked, voice trembling. Adrian scratched his beard. Mr. Hale, I've been fishing since I was 14. I've seen storms, fog illusions, strange lights. I know the difference between the ocean playing tricks and something real. He looked Thomas in the eyes, and last night, something real was out there. Thomas felt tears sting his eyes. Adrian continued, quieter now. What do you think it was? Thomas stared at the sea. I think, he whispered, it was a promise. Coming back, that night, Thomas waited again. The lantern glowed steady. The waves whispered. The horizon stretched endlessly. Hours passed, nothing. And then, just after 2 a.m., the mist rolled in again. Not as heavy as before, thinner, almost silver. Thomas felt it before he saw it. The air changed. The lighthouse flame flickered. And then a soft, warm glow appeared on the horizon. Thomas's breath hitched. The glow grew brighter, closer, clearer. The shape formed slowly, like memories rebuilding themselves. And once again, the silhouette of a ship lingered in the mist. Thomas's hands trembled uncontrollably. Please, he whispered, please show yourself again. And the light pulsed once, twice, 3 times. The same signal, the same message. I'm home. Thomas's eyes flooded. Then something happened he never expected. The lantern room filled with a sudden warmth, soft, golden, almost like sunlight pressed into a single moment. It wasn't blinding, it wasn't frightening, it was comforting, familiar. Thomas turned slowly, and there, right beside him, stood a woman. She wasn't solid, but she wasn't imaginary either. She glowed softly, like her form was made of moonlight. Thomas's breath collapsed in his chest. Eliza, he whispered, barely able to stand. She smiled, the same gentle smile he had memorized a lifetime ago. Tom. Her voice was soft, warm, echoing slightly, as if spoken through the wind. He reached toward her. His fingers passed through light, warm, soft, real light. Eliza, how? Why? Her expression softened. I never left you, she whispered. Not really. Thomas shook his head. Tears streamed down his face. I kept the light on, he said brokenly. Every night, just like I promised. I know. Her voice trembled sweetly. I saw it. He choked back a sob. Why now? He whispered. Why after so long? Eliza stepped closer, raising a luminous hand to touch his face, or try to. The warmth brushed him even without contact. Because you're finally ready, she whispered. Ready to rest. Ready to live the part of life you paused for me. Thomas's knees buckled. I waited for you, he cried. I never moved on. I never stopped loving you. I never stopped hoping, and I never stopped watching. She interrupted gently. But my place was never to come back into your world the way you hoped. My place was to make sure you kept living, even without me. Thomas sobbed. I don't know how. That's why I came, Eliza whispered. To show you. She turned her gaze toward the sea. The ship's silhouette glowed one last time before fading into the mist forever. Eliza looked back at Thomas. The ship didn't come for me, Tom, she said softly. It came for you. Thomas froze. For me, yes, to tell you it's time. Time to leave the lighthouse. Time to stop waiting. Time to find peace. He shook violently. I can't leave this place. This is where I kept my promise. It's also where you stopped living, Eliza whispered. Thomas cried harder. I don't want to lose you again. She stepped closer, and though her form was light, her presence felt solid. You won't lose me, she whispered, because love doesn't vanish, it transforms. Her glow grew brighter. The lighthouse lantern flickered, responding to her presence. Thomas whispered, voice trembling. What happens now? Eliza smiled like sunrise. Now you live. And with that, her form shimmered, soft, then softer, until she dissolved into a warm breath of light that wrapped around Thomas like a final embrace. The mist thinned. The ship's silhouette vanished. The horizon returned to silence, and Thomas stood alone, yet not alone. The next morning, Sarah found Thomas sitting outside the lighthouse on a wooden bench, something he rarely did. Thomas, she asked softly, you okay? He looked up. For the first time in decades, he looked peaceful, truly peaceful. I'm leaving the lighthouse, he said gently. Sarah's eyes widened. Are you sure? After all these years? Thomas smiled, small, tired, but free. I kept my promise. She kept hers. It's time. Sarah swallowed hard and nodded. And Thomas Hale, after 61 years of waiting, walked away from the tower that had held his whole life. He moved into the senior home in Willow Bay. He made new friends. He laughed again. He slept through the night. He told stories to the younger residents. And sometimes, on windy nights, he swore he felt warm light around him. The lighthouse remained empty, quiet, yet its lantern, one that should have been dark, glowed. Not bright, not regular, just a soft, warm pulse. 3 gentle flashes, the same message Eliza once taught him. I'm home. Thomas smiled whenever he saw it from his window at the senior home, because he finally understood. Eliza never returned to the world. She simply reminded him he still belonged to it. If stories like this bring warmth to your nights, or remind you of a love you once knew, your support means the world to us. Our PayPal link is in the description below. Even the smallest gesture helps us continue creating bedtime stories for our golden evening family. Thank you for being here with us. Press the like button, leave a comment, and tell us which moment touched you the most. We'll be here every night, sharing stories that gently remind us that love, memory, and time are beautifully connected. Good night, dear friend.